Hello, and on the gaming table today, we're taking a look at Battle 1 of the Warmaster mini campaign. So this is going to be game number 1. We're starting out with 500-point armies. We've got Chaos and Dark Elves going up against each other, and we'll see how things go. Now, one note here is that there are no magic items. The 500 points are just the troops. So here's the table we laid out for this one. We've got some sort of wizard's tower here, a couple of elf monoliths, and also lots of little bits of terrain around. I made the table fairly dense here. I think that gives a better experience when you have a lot of terrain on the table. Your views may vary, but let's see how we go. So looking from above, you can see we've got 4 patches of woods. We've got some fields there. The tower, that's impassable. The little farmstead building is impassable as well, and some walls there, but also quite a lot of hills. So here are the two forces. We've got 500 points of Dark Elves and 500 points of Chaos. So the Dark Elves, 2 spears and crossbows, that's their compulsories, and then Dark Riders and Bolt Throwers. For Chaos, they've got their Warriors and Marauders, that's their compulsories, and they've taken Harpies and a Chaos Spawn. So here's the Chaos force. You can see it all laid out and ready to go. And the Dark Elves. So the difference with the Dark Elves here is obviously lots more shooting, and they've also got the Bolt Throwers as a war engine. Now, because this table is a little bit smaller, what I did here is said that each side must start in a deployment zone, which is 30 centimeters from a corner of the table. This just gives us a little more maneuver room. We're playing slightly more diagonally across the table here. So the Dark Elves set themselves up. You can see here that they've put 1 unit of spears with the bolt throwers as protection, and then they've kind of got an infantry brigade led by the crossbows and their Dark Riders on the flank. For Chaos, the dark forces of Chaos here in the shadow, they put their Marauders behind their Chaos Warriors and also their Spawn with that brigade so that it's not suffering from the leadership penalty when it takes command. And also the Harpies at the back there, that's basically the Chaos's only mobile element. So here's the view from the Dark Elf side as we get ready, and similarly from the Chaos side. So lots of hills there. There's going to be lots of opportunities for infantry to get defended status. So in the first turn, the Dark Elves moved up, put their bolt throwers and their spearmen forward, and then moved their other units up. They wanted to move the brigade at the bottom of the screen on a second order, but failed the command roll there. Okay, so General moves forward. He's 20 centimeters from everything, ready for the next turn. Looking on, getting ready with those bolt throwers and crossbows to do some damage. Now the forces of Chaos moved their Harpies forward and then managed to move their brigade 2 orders and put the Spawn slightly in front of the rest of the units there to be able to soak up the missile fire. The Spawn can't be driven back by shooting, and it's also got a really good armor save, 3+. So here the Chaos forces are getting ready to charge up that hill. Now, the Dark Elf General here wanted to withdraw the bolt throwers and the spears here. He didn't want to use an evade move, even though the enemy's within 20. He just wanted to do an order. But because that enemy's within 20, -1 on the command check, he actually failed. So they only got a half-pace move, and they couldn't really do much. So they just shuffled so that they were in a position where the Spawn can charge them on initiative, but the other units can't. So if those are going to go in, they're going to have to be ordered in. So the only other thing left in the Dark Elf turn here is shooting, so the bolt throwers have to have a go at the Spawn. They roll 3 hits, but 2 of those are saved by the Spawn, so no effect here, and of course no drive back. And then the Spawn initiative charges into combat here. The closest unit was the bolt throwers, so he had to charge in against those, and he had to charge in against the closest stand of that unit, which puts him in this position. Their shooting doesn't take much effect on the Spawn there. He only takes 1 wound. Now, the Chaos General needed to get off 2 orders to get the brigade in here. The first was successful, putting them in this position, and a 6 on the second roll is just enough to send them into combat. So those Dark Elves not looking too happy there, getting charged by that big brigade of Chaos. The Chaos General also dropped the Harpies in behind the spears at the back there, behind that brigade, to try and disrupt them a little bit. It's going to mess up their command, but also if in following turns there's a chance to charge in there into the front, then that may block a retreat. Now in the combat, pretty quickly the bolt throwers fell, and then the spears also succumbed. Now, at this stage, a mistake was made. The Chaos forces withdrew here. They shouldn't have had this option. The Spawn should have gone in, and then with the Spawn going in, they probably would have sent in the infantry to support them as well. But yeah, we forgot that Spawn can't choose to fall back. They must advance or must pursue. And so this is where things ended up. But also thinking about it, that was why did the general put his harpies in behind the Dark Elf Brigade there if he wasn't going to go forward? So on the Dark Elf turn, the Dark Elf General uses his first order to get his Dark Riders into a position behind the Harpies and then charges into them. So definitely not part of the Chaos plan. Then he sends the brigade of infantry over the hill and into the flank of the Chaos brigade there, puts them in column so that they're not going to be in line of sight in case the next move fails. The next move doesn't fail though. He gets the order off and charges into the Spawn, joins the combat himself. He feels this will be pretty pivotal. Chaos only has a breakpoint of 2, so if here can eliminate the Harpies and also eliminate the Spawn, then the Chaos army will break. So for the Dark Riders against the Harpies, the first round of combat, they take out 1 stand, but in the second round of combat, they only do 5 wounds, not 6. They don't manage to take out the unit there, so the Harpies fall back to the top of the screen with 1 stand remaining. Down here, the combat against the Spawn. The Spawn is hit and he loses the combat. No big surprise there because of the support of the Dark Elves in behind. And then rather than the Chaos Brigade here making way for the Spawn to retreat, they decide to hold ground. Now, the reason for this was if they made way, they have to make way by the shortest distance. The Marauders would move backwards and the Chaos Warriors would move forward, and that would kind of break up the brigade. They decided just to sit there and let the Spawn take the punishment. So the Spawn became confused because of that, not being able to go through. It can't retreat. And then in the second round of combat, they do enough to knock out the Spawn. Now here, rather than advancing into the flank of the brigade, which probably would have been a good move, they were still thinking about if we can just take out those Harpies, we win this particular battle. So they pulled back into defended terrain here. Thinking about the odds, they probably should have gone into the flank so that the Chaos couldn't do what they would do in the next turn. So pretty obviously, Chaos decides to initiative charge. So they barrel on in here. The Dark Elf advantage is that they've got their Spearmen in the front rank here, and they're also in defended terrain. So hopefully that will help them against the Chaos Warriors. The Chaos General joined in the combat here, and in the first round, 3 wounds were done to the Dark Elves, none back on the Chaos Warriors. So 1 stand down for the Dark Elves, and they're forced to withdraw. Now they're no longer defended. But miraculously, in the second round of combat, the Dark Elves make all but 2 of their armor saves, and they manage to do 3 wounds on the Chaos Forces. That means the Chaos Forces now have to fall back. And with the Dark Riders taking out that last stand of Harpies, that actually breaks the Chaos army. And the Dark Elves kind of squeak out a victory there, maybe a couple of mistakes made, but they managed to pull this one out. Now, after each battle, each side gets 100 points. You must buy at least a unit, but you can save the points you have left over. And the Dark Elves, as the winner, will get 15 points for magic items and can save the remaining points if they wish. So what the Dark Elves decide to do is they take a unit of Harpies and save the other 35 unit points. And for the 15 points of magic items, they take the Banner of Shielding for the Dark Riders. That kind of converts them into a heavier class of cavalry, now with a 5+ save. So they feel that will help them out. On the Chaos side, the Chaos unit, lacking cavalry at this stage, take a unit of Marauder Horsemen and save the other 10 points. Okay, so that's the first battle down. Let's see how the second battle plays out soon. If you're interested in this, let me know in the comments section. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again real soon.